Hi everyone, this is Himanshu Sehgal once again, and we are here with another version episode of our Insights Corner for July month, basically. I know that we are a little late in July, but we were swamped with a lot of work and conferences, so we couldn't come earlier. So today we are gonna talk about the topic radiotherapy. Radio or nuclear medicine has been throughout the pharmaceutical world has been known mostly for the diagnostic part. But today, in our Insights Corner, we are going to majorly focus on the therapy part of it or radio pharmaceutical part of it rather than a radio diagnostic. Yes, there will be certain instances where we will be talking about theranostics, where therapy and diagnostics are together. But our primary focus is going to be on the therapy part. With me, I have Swati. Swati is the one who has driven radiotherapy for this month. Um, like every month, so we have this table of content. We will be talking about executive summary, foundation of radiopharmaceutical, we'll be talking about regulatory and company landscapes, opportunities, basically, and innovation, what innovations are going on in CI, strategic insights, and then what holds in the future of radiopharma. Um, and then these are our prior issues. We have started as you probably all know that we started in May 2025 this Insights Corner. So since today, I mean, last month we covered regulatory designations, US FDA and EMA. And then every month we have picked a special topic or specific topic. Additionally, we have covered the impact of one big beautiful bill on the pharmaceutical world. So these are our prior issues. You can access these from this file. So moving on, in terms of executive summary, I'll take up that executive summary and I'll talk about the major points in terms of the radiopharmaceutics. But yeah, after that, Swati will take over for a few slides and then I'll add to what I wanted to. Okay, so radiopharmaceutical has, which I was saying, that radiopharmaceutical has moved from nuclear medicine niche into a strategic oncology growth engine. In 2026, the market is expected to be approximately $8 billion. The exact number is $7.9 billion, which is again expected to grow up to $17 billion by 2035, with a CAGR of approximately 9%, basically. So 9% CAGR and a market of $17 billion, it speaks volume about the kind of scope it is, basically. Right. What is driving is the what I mean, I have said these couple of things in the initial part also. What driving is this the rise of theranostics. What is theranostics? The concept is therapy plus diagnostic, right? When you break it, but the model itself is the model essence it says is the theranostic is like they see it, they treat it basically. So you see it. Initially, we used to radiotherapy or sorry, radiology plus nuclear medicine was earlier only for the imaging part, for the diagnostic part. So they used to see it only. Now it is combined with the treatment part as well. So it's the drug sees it and it treats it in a way, and that's the model which which has given birth to theranostics as a new space. Plus, big regulatory and capital momentum, is driving the growth, right? One real constraint in the overall or the bottleneck in the overall development of this therapy is the isotopes and the production capacity, basically. These are two bottlenecks. The winners in this space are not just discovering new drugs. they are the ones who can lock into supply, integrate manufacturing, logistics, and build treatment center network around the radiology ligand therapy, basically. So the winners in this whole scenario are those companies who are bringing everything on the table. Yes, there are. We will talk about those cases basically where companies are bringing in partners, different partners. But you will see now, while we will be talking about them, you will see that these companies, one would be a major company, and then they are working with partners, but later on acquiring those partners in this space basically because they want to create one in-house solution basically, and that's the key to the success for this therapy area. Now, quick an anecdote of radiotherapy is, if you look at the Novartis today, RLTs basically, radio ligand therapy, is no longer just a side bet. Pluvicto, Lutathera are growth drivers of Novartis. They have recently acquired a company which is again into radio pharmaceuticals. So Novartis is, especially Novartis, if I talk about specifically Novartis Oncology, is taking a big bet and a big bet on radiotherapy, and that speaks volume that one of the top five pharma companies taking a bet on a specific therapy area. Now I've taken a lot of time in executive summary, so now I'll move on to the next slide and hand over it to
Yeah.
Swati. Swati, please take over and yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Himanshu. That was a very brief summary, which explains our entire presentation about what we want to talk about radiopharmaceuticals. So I would like to start the presentations building on the foundations of radiopharmaceuticals. So we will just be giving a basic intro, what theranostics means and what is the entire role of this in precision medicine. So starting with the first slide on the foundational concept. So what are radiopharmaceuticals? So these are medicines that combine a radionuclide isotope with a targeting vector. The targeting vector can be anything like small molecule or a peptide or an antibody. So this as a whole homes on into a tumor specific receptor and delivering this lethal radiation directly onto the cancer cells. So one advantage of this radiopharmaceutical is this, that they specifically direct the radiation to the tumor specific cells, and this limits the off-target exposure. On the right hand side, we have given the key radioisotopes that are currently in clinical use. Technetium 99M and fluorine 18 are the diagnostic use majorly, and iodine 131 and lutetium 177 are for the targeted radiotherapy, which is a pharmaceutical basically. So overall, one point I would like to highlight in the slide is about the lutetium 177. Lutetium 177 is very central to the current radiopharmaceutical because of its attractive half-life and its beta emission profile, because of which it is a workhorse for many therapies, including what Himanshu just mentioned about the Novartis, Lutathera and Pluvicto in neuroendocrine tumors and the prostate cancer. And this very radioisotope is also becoming the backbone for many upcoming pipeline agents. So moving on to the next slide, theranostics. So Himanshu has already given a very brief description on it. So this is all about linking molecular imaging and the targeted radionuclide therapy, so that the same biomarker that is used to both see the disease as well as treat the disease in a very unified pathway as one. So this integrated approach enables the real-time assessment and of targeted expression, disease activity, and the treatment response, which ultimately supports highly personalized care. Giving a comparison of the traditional approach versus the current theranostic approach. Previously, in the traditional approach, the diagnosis was separate from the treatment pathway. But here in this theranostics, we can actually streamline the patient journey and improve the outcomes with more precise biomarker-driven treatment. So this was all about the theranostics introduction. Moving over to our next topic of discussion. The regulatory and the company landscape. So here in this discussion, we would be highlighting how the regulatory environment specific to radiopharmaceuticals is evolving. And we would be discussing about the company Novartis because of its leadership in advancing radioligand therapy very briefly. So coming over to regulatory landscape of radiopharmaceuticals. So we have gone through the draft guidances issued by major regulatory authorities like FDA and EMA for the last 2 years. And we can see that regulators are now writing radiopharma specific playbooks with both these major regulatory authorities issuing draft guidances that define the quality, dosing, and clinical evaluation expectations for this therapeutic radiopharmaceuticals. So all these documents signal that radiopharma progression into a fully recognized oncology modality, while also formalizing the requirements around the dosimetry, treatment scheduling, and theranostic co-development. So overall, what we wanted to tell through this slide is that the implication for the sponsors that are developing the radiopharmaceuticals is that regulatory strategy and early alignment with these evolving guidances are now as much as critical as the trial design for securing timely approvals. And one more point that I would like to highlight over here is there has been very much good emphasis on dose optimization guidance because radiopharmaceuticals actually combine drug and the radiations, and the regulators actually want sponsors to rationally optimize this administered activity and schedules so as to maximize the killing the cancer cells while keeping the organs at rest within safe dose limits rather than just copying the chemotherapy style dosing which is there with the therapeutic agents for oncology. So this was all about the regulatory landscape specific to radiopharma. Moving on to our company profiling for Novartis. So we all know about Novartis, its therapeutic focus being on 4 strategic therapeutic areas of CVRM, immunology, neurosciences, oncology. And Novartis has positioned itself, it has positioned this radioligand therapy as a strategic oncology platform, which is supported by its robust late-stage pipeline. Here we can see they have major assets targeting somatostatin receptors and the PSMA targets for GEP, neuroendocrine tumors, and the prostate cancers. They have their approved molecules, Lutathera and Pluvicto. So these both already anchor the marketed franchise, and together with these upcoming pipeline agents, this AAA 617, 817, 601. So these pipeline agents, they extend Novartis' reach across earlier and later prostate cancer settings, as well as the neuroendocrine tumors. So with this, here we can also see the strong revenues coming from this approved assets. So with the strong growing RLT revenues and the patent production, which is there till the next decade, RLT has now become a core growth driver that could cement Novartis therapies as standard of care in these indications, basically. So this is why we chose to highlight Novartis as a core global leader in radioligand therapy. So this was all about Novartis portfolio and radioligand.
Okay, Swati, one interesting fact I'll add here is So I was there when Novartis was investing in or assessing this basically radioligands, and they acquired Advanced Accelerator, which is a basically denotes to that company, uh, and everybody and we were hearing a lot of analyst reports. A lot of people were saying that what is Novartis doing? And they are betting on something which they have never done. Because before that, radiotherapy, nuclear medicine was something which um, Novartis has stayed away for a very long time. And they acquired this company, and the whole scenario changed. I'll also add something here is that very recently, Novartis acquired a company called Myrec Bio, which is not exactly a radiotherapy company, but their lead molecule is its lead molecule is RDC, radio drug conjugate, basically. So that's
Okay.
also would be interesting to see. Another fact, uh, just 2 days back, uh, one trial got failed, phase 3 trial, which was post LU MCRC, basically. This recently got did not meet the primary endpoint. I wouldn't call it a fail, but it did not meet the primary endpoint. Probably Novartis might not continue with this molecule for this indication specifically. But yeah, those are two, bigger updates. But still, Novartis is carrying on and focusing on RLTs like anything. It is,
Oh,
if I say this as a statement, it will not be a wrong statement, that Novartis is the biggest company in the world in the RLT space, if we talk about.
yes, yes. Thank you so much for adding these beautiful insights to this.
Thank you. Moving on.
So,
So
moving on with the market opportunities. So, here we want to talk about the market potential of the radiopharmas, the what are the commercialization pathways, the how does the reimbursement environment look like, and what are the key barriers that are actually influencing this radiopharmaceutical adoption into the market. So, actually starting off with the market snapshot. Hmm. So currently in 2026, we can see that the current market is sizing about $7.9 billion, and this is expected to double and reach 17 billion by 2025, implying on the fact that the CAGR growth will be somewhere around 8.9%, and growth will be primarily driven by oncology. With North America is already leading this, but the future assessment is also this, that Asia Pacific is emerging as a fastest growing region as nuclear medicine infrastructure is expanding. And also competitive advantage is shifting towards players that control isotope supply and manufacturing. While there are issues like persistent isotope constraints and short half-life will portray as key barriers to new entrants. So this was about the key drivers and key barriers which will decide the market size. So moving on to our next topic, expanding on this. So radiopharmaceutical challenges, what could actually hinder the market growth? So among this entire radiopharmaceutical topic, we think that this is a very important topic because of because it is very much unique to the radiopharmas, as the radioisotopes, because of the radioisotope nature, basically its unstable nature, the short life of the radionuclides, and the radiation hazards and the problems coming out of it to handle in a bulk amount, basically. So let's go through each challenge one by one. The first very point we will be discussing about is the isotope supply concentration. So this isotope supply is a very fragile ring. Globally, there are 60 research reactors, but out of them, only 8 to 10 actually produced most medical radionuclides. So we can imagine, like how a single unplanned outage can actually ripple the entire radiopharma ecosystem, and this can actually directly threaten the therapeutic continuity to the patients. So this is a very important factor while developing to consider when while developing a radiopharma. So the next point is the infrastructure and workforce capacity constraints. So there has been actually very low treatment centers which could actually handle the radiopharmaceuticals. So the access to radiopharma is gated more by treatment center capacity and the specialist availability rather than by approvals or reimbursements alone. Next, moving on to regulatory pathway complexity. So since this is radiopharma, they have dual complexity here. So they need approvals both for the drug as well. They need to go through the radiation safety pathways as well. And along with this, the multi-division FDA review, along with the Nuclear Radio Commission oversight, means company must integrate this regulatory, manufacturing, and radiation safety planning from the very beginning in order to get their developing asset into the market. Last but not the least, I would like to talk about the alpha emitters and the generics. So alpha emitters are emerging isotopes in this radiopharma. So alpha emitter isotopes like this lead-212 and actinium-225 remain in short supply, making production as a major competitive differentiator. And talking about the emerging generics, there is an upcoming generic called as PNT2003, which is the Lutathera equivalent, the Novartis Lutathera equivalent. And this entry could actually foreshadow pricing and market share pressure on the first generation radiopharmas which are there in the market. So overall, what we would like to tell is market expansion is constrained by this concentrated isotope supply, the limited radiopharma treatment center capacity and the workforce, and this dual regulatory complexity of both drug and the radiation. So all of which combined can actually slow or stall therapy rollout even after the approval. So this was about the challenges. Moving on to our next topic of discussion, radiopharmaceuticals market access. So here, in a very brief overall manner, we'll be talking about the payer economics, what are the cost effectiveness arguments across the major markets, and what are the such structural hurdles unique to this radioactive drugs. So in the US, there is a different payer dynamic for diagnostics and therapeutic. Medicare, the CMS Medicare separates the payment for high cost diagnostic radiopharmaceuticals above the packaging threshold and reimburses them using the mean unit cost. And there might be some diagnostic radiopharmas which are below that. They are bundled along with the procurement package, and they are reimbursed in a different package payment basically. And talking about the therapeutic radiopharmaceuticals, they are reimbursed using the system of average seller price plus 6% when these radiopharmas have the right codes and payment methodology. So overall, this makes that the coding strategy and the product classification as a critical lever for margin and uptake, because based on this, two radiopharmas with similar clinical profiles can actually face very different economics depending on how they are treated in this Medicare system. So moving on to our next topic in market access, the cost effectiveness. So let's talk about the European market first. Across the Europe, the cost effectiveness models are strongly recommended to support the pricing decision. However, there are few countries like Spain and Italy where the budget impact models are mandatory. are very much mandatory. And apart from these countries, although not mandatory, the real world evidences can actually help them demonstrate the long term outcomes and support the sustainable pricing actually. So here we can see a very interesting example of Lutathera and Pluvecto. Both are Novartis products. Lutathera had a positive opinion to be incorporated in the reimbursement system through the NICE, but Pluvecto had a initial negative outcome. So this shows that robust economic evidence is very important in securing reimbursement in the EU, in the European countries. Now, talking about the US. In the US, the value stories increasingly focus on how radiopharmas prevent the downstream high cost care and toxicity. So the manufacturers must frame their data around this avoided procedures and financial toxicity rather than completely relying on the traditional health technology assessment metrics actually. Finally, moving on to a third point, which are the structural hurdles. So the same as we discussed about the challenges unique to radiopharmaceuticals in our last slide, regulatory approvals and reimbursement are not enough for radiopharmas because radiopharmas have almost no shelf life buffer. They require licensed facilities and staff. So the real access will depend on the treatment center capacity, the infrastructure, and the workflows that can actually handle the radiopharma. So Lutathera, so on a whole, we can say that Lutathera can be on label, but still out of reach if a center cannot infuse it basically. So this was all about the market access related things in the US and the EU. So moving on to our next topic of discussion. So next we'll be talking about the clinical innovation, and I would like to ask Himanshu to present on these topics.
So thank you, Swati. Now, talking about the clinical aspects. What we have done here is we have taken a presentation from ASCO. Basically, the results were presented in ASCO, and we thought of going into I wouldn't call it a deep dive, but maybe analyzing those results basically here to understand what's happening basically. So in this scenario, we have taken Perspective Therapeutics. They have a phase 1/2A study basically, which is where they are utilizing their alpha therapy basically, targeted alpha therapy, and they are targeting pre-treated MC1 RA positive, which is like a biomarker, metastatic melanoma patients basically, right? So it is an innovation, and we are zooming on this basically. Now talking about what those results were at a glance. If you look at the results, the safety and the efficacy, because it's a phase 1/2 study basically, and the results presented where they had 22 evaluable patients, right? And there was 0 complete response, but there was 1 partial response, 9 stable diseases, and 12 had the progression of disease. But disease control rate overall was 45.5%. Progression-free survival, 4 patients achieved PFS for more than 6 months, basically. Now, if we talk about if we talk more on the safety side of it, there was no dose limiting toxicity reported. There was 19.2% grade 1 treatment emerging adverse events. Approximately 8 patients out of 26 patients, which is 30%, and out of which had grade 3 toxicity, grade 3 adverse events basically, and overall if we talk about overall tolerability, it was considered generally safe and tolerable. So early clinical response in the in the heavily pre-treated melanoma patients and with a specific biomarker positive, which is MC1R, uh, the safety was favorable, and and it talks about it gives a clinical validation. So probably the company is planning to assess this molecule in the next phases, basically. Now, if we go into the further of the same company's product, basically. So the Perspective Therapeutics is building a PB212 targeted alpha platform, basically. And ASCO, they showed phase 1 by 2 data, basically, from their molecule, which is called VMD101. Right. So from safety perspective, I've already said, decently in the previous slide. But if we talk again, we will specifically talk about the efficacy results, which is from a different trial, I believe. Yeah, sorry, this is a different patient segment. Sorry, I'm really sorry about that. This is a different patient segment. Earlier was melanoma patients. These are NET patients, which are SSTR2 positive, basically. So there are three cohorts to it. The data cutoff was 4th of March of this year. So efficacy population is the population where the efficacy is assessed is 25 patients, out of which cohort 1 had 2 patients and cohort 2 had 23 patients. Right. ORR, if you see, that's 43%. 10 out of 23 patients have, have shown a response rate. There are 10 patients with partial response. Disease control is high. Tumor shrinkage is it's continued to deepening. Basically, 9 patients experience further tumor shrinkage. We probably might see these results or extinction of these results at upcoming ESMO as well, probably. Right. Then progression-free and then alive patients, which are 18 out of 25, which is 72%. Right. So overall, there it is a deepening response. 72% progression-free and alive patients are there. Favorable safety profile, which was previously also defined in the previous another trial in melanoma, basically. Right. So now Perspective Therapeutics for its molecule VMT, which is like a 212 lead, basically. They are planning to go for a registration enabling study with this data. So this is a positive response. This is something which adds to the credibility of this technology. These results add to the credibility of the technology. Now let's talk about. So previously we took an example. We wanted to show the variety. So hence, for AACR ASCO results, and for we spoke about Perspective. Here we are talking about ITM Pharma. ITM Pharma is if I'm not wrong, it's an Australian company. I could be wrong. So they are assessing ITM-11, which is an investigational product, and it is designed for GP net patients, basically. So now talking about ITM, it is an 177 LU, which Swati has already spoken about, that they have shown a lot of credibility and positivity in the net patients, basically, and then across other patient types also. So different technologies, companies are using different technologies to use same isotope for targeting different kind of tumors. Very prominently, a lot of companies are targeting SSR2 positive GP net patients with 177 LU. Right. And I'll not go into the dose regimen. Route of administration across radiotherapy is IV. Right. And Now let's talk about the timeline and the milestones that have been achieved so far. First of all, very important point is that PDUFA is expected in August 2028, 2026, which is literally down right around the corner, basically. We are in July 24th. We are on July 24th. So basically, approximately a month. In a month, we will see another approval of 177 LU. We already have a 177 LU, which is Lutathera, right? So and then now, if we talk about the regulatory milestone, company received or the product received ODD from Europe in 2024. Uh, uh, sorry, 2014. I'm sorry, 2014, and then ODD from US FDA in 15, followed by phase 3, which was initiated in 27, and then 25 November. I mean, November 2025, US FDA has accepted the NDA for this drug. And in July 2026, the results were published, phase 3 results were published. Now, talking about the results or you know, uh, how they have shown. So basically, the approval or the PDUFA which has been given is based on the complete study, which was a phase 3 study. Two line of therapies they were assessing, first line and second line. Right, they have evaluated in front of or in comparison to the standard of care, which is everolimus. Patient dosed were 207 in the complete study. 207 received ITM 11, and then 102 received everolimus. Very, very important. A very clear difference. Uh, I wouldn't call it two times, but MPFS was 23.9 months, whereas for standard of care, which was 14 months basically. So it shows an substantial amount of uh, progression-free survival basically here. And with these kind of results, obviously, uh, I think it's no-brainer, and probably this is gonna be approved very soon. I mean, on the PDUFA dates, basically. ORR, once again, ORR 22 versus 14, 5 times, which is very significant in the number. If we talk about grade 3 or 4 TREAs, basically, um, 18, I not sure 18 cases or 18% of cases, but yes, 18, sorry, yeah, 18%. Sorry, it's my wrong.
18%.
18% and 40%. So again, no-brainer, safety is better, efficacy is better. So on both the fronts, the drug is has given substantial amount, it has substantial amount of improvement plus better safety versus the standard of care which is existing for this specific population and this specific patient group basically. Right. So the competition is higher, obviously, because Lutathera has been in this space or has been in this patient population for a very long time. So it is going to be very interesting to see that how ITM is gonna be positioning this drug. One interesting fact about ITM also is that like Lantheus, they also have their own uh, diagnostic centers, and they are setting up their own diagnostic centers as well as their which also includes their you know drug centers basically, where they will be in administering this drug basically. So they are setting up those, they are very well funded. They have very recently, I think in 2025 late, they received, they've raised a lot of funds. So they are funded company. They are using that money to fund their centers, which is an important factor in terms of radiotherapy, which we have already spoken about, that the companies uh, who have the whole setup or everything in place basically, they are they are the leaders in the space basically, and I think ITM is going in that direction. Moving on, here what we have tried to do is we have tried to go beyond oncology, and we have tried to profile a product. This is an approved product. It is a radiopharma product for Alzheimer's disease. So the reason why we have used this product here specifically, it's a slightly older product, right? Because uh, the F18 is a older isotope basically. But the reason why we have used this product is we wanted to show um, the versatility of radiotherapies, that it is not just only oncology. Yes, oncology, right now the major business is in oncology, but there are other therapy areas where radiotherapy is also making strides. Neuro is one of the biggest ones. Then I read about a couple of autoimmunes where radiotherapy is also making stride. Urology is an area where radiotherapy and radiopharmaceuticals is doing a lot of work, which obviously is visible in the oncology part also. You can see a lot of prostate cancers are being treated with radiotherapy. So the principle kind of remains the same in urology as well. So non-oncology urology patients are also being assessed basically. Now coming back to this approved product profile, uh, the the diagnostic area is it's Alzheimer's disease basically. Mechanism of action and all that detail, I will not go into the detail. The originator of this product was Abbott Radiopharmaceuticals, and now which was later acquired by Lilly, and now Lilly is the manufacturer or the supplier of this product. A commercial partner in Japan. So overall, Lilly is the company who is driving the sales and marketing at the global front. But in Japan, PD Radiopharma is the partner. Now, in terms of uh, uh, you know clinical evidences, sensitivity to 92 to 100% versus autopsy is being established basically. There have been pivotal autopsy studies which are being quoted here, versus the standard of diagnosis. The results have been published in JAMA in 2011 also, right? And limitation in terms of this is non-diagnostic of Alzheimer's alone basically requires full clinical workup. So what we are trying to say here is that this product is not just the only basic solution to do the diagnosis. There are other clinical workup needs to be done to establish the disease. But because the reason why I want to emphasize on this one is because this is a very old product, right? It was approved long back, and since then the technologies have changed a lot. So now the newer technologies or the newer radiopharmaceutical or radio diagnostic products which are coming up, they are alone are being used as the diagnostic parameters basically. So having said that, now in terms of competitive positioning, Amivid is in competition with Neurosec and Vizamyl. They all are older products. Again, you can see from the approval timeline that Amivid was first approved in 12, then then Vizamyl was approved in 13, and then followed by Neuracef. So they have pretty much similar kind of sensitivity, even the imaging window, and so on and so forth. So the key takeaway is it was the first US FDA approved amyloid PET tracker, right? Um, and it is autopsy validated, widely used to confirm and rule out amyloid pathology, and so on and so forth. It has a very broader footprint outside US as well, in Europe and Japan, and probably in other locations as well. Now, moving on from this product, we will be talking about the competitor tracking. So this is a US specific, US only landscape what we have created. This is obviously non-exhaustive at the moment. Uh, yeah, so we have not put in that marker, but this is non-exhaustive at the moment because we did not want to go into a lot of detail and as you can very clearly see that we have just um, tracked up to a phase two basically. So phase two, phase three, and approved molecules. So no brainer, approved molecules in 177 LU. We have Lutathera and Pluvicto. Then obviously PNT 2003 is also there. I think my team has put in a wrong, I think, logo for PNT. Right, and then we have Telix. Telix also is doing a good job and a lot of products. I told you about ITM. We have profiled ITM. So Telix, ITM, Novartis, and then we have Lantheus. These are some of the top five players. If I talk about, if I have to say if I have to talk about five players, then these are the top five players I would say in terms of radiotherapy. We have an OG also, original company which who developed in oncology was Bayer Pharma. Bayer Pharma was the first company to take a big bet on radiotherapy when they used it for bone metastasis in MCR CRPC, which is Zofigo. Fortunately, I've worked for that as well. In my past experience, I supported the Zofigo team. So yes. These are the bigger companies. We have already spoken about Perspective Therapeutics. There is Selector who is working on a couple of molecules. ResiBio. ResiBio, very interesting case. The reason why it is interesting is because ResiBio is acquired by BMS. So after Novartis and a lot of bigger companies took a bet. BMS took a bet on ResiBio very recently in I think 2024, later 2024, and this product is in the phase three. 101, which is their lead molecule, is in phase three for GEP net, and they are using actinium 225 as an isotope here. So, sorry, one thing very particularly I forgot to say is there are multiple isotopes which are in assessment. What we have done is we have profiled four LU-177, AC-225, I-131, and YT-90. But there are others as well. For example, radium RA-224. We have RA-223, which is Zofigo. Then PB212. I've just spoken about PB212 also. And sorry, 203. That was PB203. And then so and so forth, basically. And then there are SM153 and so on and so forth. There are multiple others which are there. We have a lot of data on this. We have collected this data. So if you would like to, if you are into radio space or assessing radio as a space, feel free to reach out to me and we can talk about how we can support you. Now, moving on. Uh, Something which I always talk about, and then this is something which is very closer to my heart, is deals and fundings basically, right? And so if we talk about deals and fundings, yeah. So okay, so more than 100 deals have been done in 2025. We have shown 2026 also here. If you see, these are the numbers for 2026 till June end. This is a clear indicator. The numbers are on the lower side. The reason is because a lot of acquisition licensing have been done in past. So if you see, we have a lot of data. We have collected a lot of data from 2020 to 2025, 2026 basically. And we could see that 2021 to now there have been multiple deals. We have just shown you 2025 deals, but there have been multiple deals. So the graph of deal making has been spiked very early on. So there are obviously there are deals which are happening for newer molecules, newer technologies, but obviously the bulk amount of deals have already been done with bigger pharmas or different pharma companies. Lenthius has come out to, it has positioned itself as a radiotherapy and a radiodiagnostic or in a combined world theranostic company basically, and theranostic leader. In terms of pharmaceutical, definitely Novartis is the leader. But if I talk about radiotherapy as a whole, a company which only works on radiotherapy, Lenthius is obviously the leader in that space with therapy products, with the diagnostic products. They are working across domain, oncology, neurology, autoimmune, and so on and so forth. Now, coming back again to the deals, total deal value has crossed $4.1 billion approximately. There were various undisclosed deals also. The upfront, which is a very interesting part. So approximately 40% of these deals which have happened in 2025, 40% had the 40% had the upfront payment done basically. Upfront payment was bigger size basically. So that's very interesting. The biggest deal happened and it was a development and commercialization deal between Philochem and Resin Bio, which is now part of the BMS basically. And that deal was $1.3 billion. Obviously, maximum deals have been done in oncology. Oncology is definitely the leader in terms of therapy area for radiopharmaceuticals. But once again, other therapy areas are not too far behind. Now we have profiled top five deals where you can very clearly see the first deal, which is Philochem and Resin Bio, which we have already spoken about. Then Evergreen was acquired by Lenthius. Another acquisition within 2025, Life Molecule Imaging by Lenthius. This was a second acquisition. So overall, between January only, I mean, around the JP Morgan time in 2025, the company has in two deals have invested $1.7 billion basically, which is higher than obviously the deal which has happened, right? And again, once again, the timing is very important. Start of the year, and these kind of big deals have happened. Then there is a third deal which is again happened at the JP Morgan time, was Imagine AB, Imagine antibody, and which was a platform product partnership with Telex Pharma. Uh, Again, so a lot of deals have happened at the JP Morgan time, basically. Now, I'll not go into the detail of the breakdowns, which you can obviously all clearly see. US is the primary market of focus, followed by Europe. Platform and discovery stage remains the area of highest and the most deals, basically. So, why it is the case? Because and then you might feel that, okay, it's good investing in platforms. Yes, definitely in platforms. But the reason why the platform and discovery stage remains the bigger one is because there are a lot of companies who are developing different kind of platforms, right? So manufacturing platforms, isotopes, separation platforms, isotope conjugations platform, and different things basically, which is happening. So all of those deals are in the discovery and the platform stages. So hence the number increases. But yes, definitely, if a venture cap or a pharmaceutical company wants to invest in this space, platform and discovery stages are definitely the hot cakes. But pharmaceutical products, the companies who are developing pharmaceutical products are also something which is worth investing in and worth looking at, basically. Um, okay, so another space or another area where which has gathered a lot of funds or a lot of deals is contract services. So contract services include a lot of things, so and that's the reason, because the amount of services are many, hence the number of deals are higher, and plus this space is highly specialized. So one company specializes in one specific, activity like testing or like, uh, uh, you know, gathering results or and so on and so forth. So those kind of deals have also been included in the service deals basically. Right. Now, moving on from here, radiopharmaceutical fundings, again, we have looked into 2025 only. But if you see 2025 to, 2020 to 2026, basically, there are, I think, the funding rounds or the companies who have raised fundings, I think crosses the number 200 basically. So in 2025, coming back, 2025, 21 rounds have happened basically. 1.48 or $1.5 billion have been generated. Oncology remains the highest one. Pipe remains the round, which was, which had a lot of traction. The biggest funding round was done by Actis Oncology, which was IPO. They did an IPO and then raised $365 million, and $365 million, not $1 billion. And this is, I think, one of the biggest one. And plus, I think they are developing, Actis Oncology is developing AC225, but they are very early stages, all these molecules, and hence they were not in our landscape, basically. So now, this is a table. I will not go into the much detail of this table, but you can see there are multiple companies which are, which have come multiple times. For example, Radiopharm, Actis, Advanced Cell. These are a couple of companies who have raised multiple funds to support their programs. A very one important company which is Plus Therapeutics, and then the therapy area is autoimmune. Why I said important is because they are in phase 2. They have done a pipe funding, and though they have raised only $15 million, but the important part is it is something beyond oncology. Additionally, or something beyond oncology someone is doing. Now, moving on, radiopharma are on the rise, and then what's next in the era basically for them. Talking about that, moving on in terms of emerging trends, you know, this is the final section. I think this is the final section. We have pulled together threads together in terms of isotopes, in terms of approvals, deals, AI to you know where is radiopharma is actually heading over in the next decade. And and something which I would like to emphasize on, the gamma emitter still carries the diagnostic volume despite of all the buzz around alpha therapies. Technetium 99 still underpins approximately 80% of the diagnostic nuclear medicine procedure worldwide. New CZT SPECT cameras are delivering up to 7x higher sensitivity and 2x higher resolution. And then they are rejuvenating what many thought was old modality, basically. Right. So that's a very important thing. Did you know that roughly 4 out of 5 nuclear medicines can rely on technetium 99M? So yeah, that's what I felt that it was important to tell you. Then we have alpha emitters. They are leading the momentum, such as EC225, PB12, 212. They are they cut off target toxicity and beats resistance basically, right? And they are targeting something like PSMA negative clones also. Approximately 1800 cures per year in 2023 were there, and then there has been a projection of close to 5,000 to 8,000 cures per year in by 2020 2030 basically. And more than 80% of the pipeline programs are AC225. Uh, AC225, uh, they cite the supply of the isotope as the bottleneck. So if someone addresses that isotope supply problem, then they could be the money earner in this space basically. Now moving on to AI dosimetry, digital twins. So learning can predict absorb dose before therapy, basically, and EANM, which is European Association for Nuclear Medicine, have created standards which is giving fuel to the adoption basically, which is very important. The policies, the standards, the guidelines, they always fuel and they always promote the adoption of any technology or any product. Personalization is the next thing basically. Personalization, we have seen precision medicine. So this is part of precision medicine, but in the next generation, specialized personalization of these therapies, radiotherapies for individual products. That is going to be the next big thing. Uh, uh, Right now, the approval footprint is narrow or smaller because 5 out of 20 EU has approved these therapies. But the reason is 20 EU approvals are therapeutics basically. So sorry, so 20 have there are 15 diagnostic approvals basically. But 5 have been in the therapy side basically. So beyond oncology deals, a signal expansion. Lilly Actis deal is worth $1.1 billion, and then Radionautics a buying option of GPCR targeted portfolio. All right, and then M&A and manufacturing consolidation, more than $13 billion in radio pharma deals have happened in 2023, where BMS, AstraZeneca, Lilly, and Novartis were the key players. Obviously, they were the bigger ones. More than 80% of the pipelines cites AC22, which I've already said. The next decade, um, in the next decade, earlier broader and multi-isotope could be the space. There are more than 400 trials which are going on, which are targeting FAP, CAX, CA11, sorry, CA9 basically, CAIX basically, GPR in the PSMA and NET portfolio. Market is obviously bigger and is expanding. So yeah, that's all what we wanted to talk about here is something where I would take a pause and yeah, I'll take a pause here and just talk about that about the company. So as a company, we are expanding. We are including a lot of services, a lot of activities in our portfolio. We are going beyond CI, beyond market research. We have included forecasting. We are including market access, medical affairs, and analytics. So, and conference coverages this year, so far we have covered 7 conferences basically, and 7 conferences already. So this is we are expanding our services, and if you feel free to reach out to us. We are right now, because we are about to complete our 9th year and enter in our 10th year on 8th of August. So we are running with the promotion where we are giving away 20 hours of complementary analysis work basically. So if you are someone who wants to test us, you can give us an assignment, and then we'll do a 20-hour of work for you and deliver it to you, and then you can assess our services. So thank you so much. Thank you, Swati, for creating this. And this was a very detailed deep dive on radiopharmaceutical, and this is something which was again close to heart for me. The reason was I was in Novartis and worked. Seen this transition happening. So yeah, all in all, this was us with the July Insights Corner. And feel free to download this deep dive from our website and reach out to us if you want more details. And we will be happy to set up a call and discuss it more further. Thank you. Thank you, Swati.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day. Take care. Bye bye.
Okay. Sure. Bye.